Murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try to separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead, the life of another is at stake. If there is any reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, gentlemen. The jury will retire.
Doesn't stand a chance.
Come on. You don't take a minute. Come on. It's ridiculous. So dumb. Hot as hell. Open the window.
Where is it? There it is. Left it when we first were in here.
Should we go? 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 Thank you. Okay. Hey, you know something?
Oh, I know a lot of things. I'm an advertiser.
You know, whew, it's hot.
Oh, I would have never known that unless you had told me. Would you?
I suppose not. I've kind of forgotten.
All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you weren't sweating if that kegel was tried.
You'd think they'd at least air condition this place. I almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
Right. Well, they should be fast anyways.
Yes, it's hot.
All right, jurors. Everybody's here. Is there anything you need? Anything else? Just, I'll be on the side. Just knock.
Did they just lock that door?
Yes, they did.
Who do you think we are? Crooks?
They locked us up for a little while.
And then they locked that kid up forever. That's fine by me.
I never knew they did that.
Sure they did. What did you expect?
I just didn't know. It never occurred to me.
Shall we all admit right now that it is hot and humid and our tempers are short? It's been a pretty hard week. I feel just fine.
I wonder what's going down at the office. You know how it is in advertising, right? In 6 days, I could lose my job. And the company, too. They ain't gonna like this.
Well, figured this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I'm just mentioning the fact that I may not have the job by the time I get back.
Ask him to hire you. He's rich. Come on, look at that suit.
True.
Is it custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
How does he do it?
Not too well. You know, a friend of his that's a friend of my uncle, the tailor, well, he wanted to be on the jury in my place. Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this. You get caught or something? You know what kind of a charge you could catch for anything like that? Anyways, this friend of mine was on the jury once about 10 years ago. It's just about like this one.
So what happened?
They let him off. Reasonable doubt. You know what? About 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyways. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose in the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't try a man twice for the same crime.
That isn't gonna happen here.
6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Have you ever heard so much talk about nothing?
I guess they're entitled.
Everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. I suppose you can't say anything against it.
Hey, how'd you like that business about the knife? Did you ever hear a phonier story?
Well, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
He bought a switchblade that night.
And then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket?
A hole in his father.
An awful way to kill your father. A knife in his chest?
Well, you gotta expect that knowing what they are.
What's the matter? You got a cold?
Lulu, these hot, cold weather changes, they can kill you.
Yeah, I had one last year while I was on vacation too.
Never fun.
All right, gentlemen, let's take seats. Right. But, let's make this quick, shall we? I got tickets to Hamilton for tonight, and I must be the only one that hasn't seen it yet. Okay. Your Honor, start the show. How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window. How about sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tough to figure, isn't it? The kid kills his father. Bang! Just like that. Must be an element. They let these kids run wild in the streets. Serves them right.
They're a better person than some emotion you may have. It's a dislike towards some group.
We all agreed it was hot.
And that our tempers will get short. Well, that's if we disagree. This is an open and shut case. Let's get it done.
All right, now, you gentlemen can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. If you want to talk first and then vote, that's one way. Or we can vote now and see how we stand. Let's just vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
All right, let us vote.
Anybody who doesn't want to vote? Well, that was easy. All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Not guilty?
What?
Oh, come on.
Am I really losing my job?
Hey, you're in left field.
Okay, 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I can learn calculus. This is ABC.
I do not believe it is as simple as A, B, C.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He is not guilty until we say he is guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. The boy's guilty. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man is a killer? Well, I would like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. An innocent little 19-year-old boy knifed his father. I agree with you that the kid is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments. All right, they proved it in court a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Do you believe the stupid kid's story?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote. Is there something wrong because I voted so fast?
Not necessarily.
Either way, I still think the kid's guilty. You wouldn't change my mind if you talked to me for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Then what do you want?
I want to talk for a while. Look, this boy's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in a slum, his mother dead since he was 9. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way? Because we knock them over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe we owe him a few words. That's all.
All right, it's hard. Sure, it was hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for. I worked my way through college. That was a long time ago, and perhaps you do forget. I fought, yes, but I never killed. I know what it's like. I never killed nobody.
I think kicked around too. Just wait till you work in the advertising business. And the big boy that buys the company walks in, we all know.
In my country, in Europe, kicking was a science. But let's try to find something better than that.
Look, I don't mind telling you this, mister. The kid got a fair trial, didn't he? You know how much that trial cost? He's lucky he even got one. We're all grown-ups here. You're not gonna tell us that we're supposed to believe him knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. You can't trust a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a man to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right, it's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man says is very dangerous. I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like gentlemen.
Right, that's a good point.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss this case, why, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's fair. We have our job to do. Let's do it.
If you all don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck,
If you don't mind, I'd like to have the window open.
but it was blowing.
Don't you want a little air? It's summer. It's hot.
I was very uncomfortable.
Look, there's 12 of us in this room, and that's the only window, if you don't mind.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs with someone at the other end of the table?
All right, I'll leave the window open. If someone would say,
Take my chair.
thank you.
We ought to get on with it now.
Yeah. Let's.
Ooh, I got an idea. You know, maybe I'm thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman here that he's wrong and we're right. So maybe if we talk for a minute or two, you know, try it on for size.
That sounds fair.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table. All right, let's do it. Okay? We'll start with you.
Oh, well, I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean that nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Well, sure, I've heard of it. I know what it is. What I meant, well, anyway, I think he's guilty.
No reasons. Just guilty. There is a life at stake here.
Okay. Let's get to the facts. Number one, let's take the old man that lived on the second floor, in the room right below where the murder took place. He said that in about 10 minutes after midnight, he heard loud noises. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the boy scream, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the body falling. He ran to his front door, opens it, sees the boy running down the stairs. Calls the police, and they find father dead, knife in chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right, now what else do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies that night. That's a little ridiculous, don't you think? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
He didn't have any tickets, though.
Who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
That's true enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
What about the woman across the street? If her testimony doesn't prove anything, nothing does?
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Just a moment. Here's a woman lying in bed. It's hot. She can't sleep, you know? Anyway, she gets up, looks out the window at night, and sees the boy stick the knife into his pocket.
How can she really be sure it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all his life. Window right opposite of hers, across the street. She swore she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, they proved it in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Weren't you telling us just a minute or two ago that you can't trust them? That you can't believe them?
So?
And I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
You are such a smart.
Allard, take it easy!
Come on, sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Gentlemen, they did take us out to the women's room, and we did look through the windows of a moving elevated train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And weren't you able to see what happened on the other side?
I did not see as well as they told me I would see, but I did see what happened on the other side.
You see, come on now.
Calm down now. It's your turn.
Oh. I'll pass it.
That's your right. How about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced, at the testimony from people across the hall. Didn't they say something about a fight between the boy and his father around 7 o'clock? I could be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right.
What does that prove?
It doesn't prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of it's been said already, and if you ask me, we could talk all day about this thing, but I think we're just wasting time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Just look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He was arrested for mugging, and I'm pretty sure they said he stabbed someone in the arm.
They did.
He was picked up for knife fighting, and at 15 he was sent to reform school.
And he was sent to reform school for knife fighting.
This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
So would I, on a kid like that.
You're right. It's the kids. It's the way they are. I have a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I was so ashamed. I told him, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or I'm gonna bust you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15, he hit me in the face. He's big, I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kids. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and... Well, let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This kid, let's say he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why the slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. You know it, and so do I. The children out of the slums backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. Believe me, I want no part of them.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now wait a minute.
I used to play in a backyard filled with garbage. I mean, come on, maybe it smells on me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
All right. He didn't mean you, Missy. Let's not be so sensitive.
Who did he mean?
I can understand this sensitivity.
Now let's stop the bickering.
We're wasting time.
Right. It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion on the guilt of the kid, I do agree that the defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
Okay, let's talk about the questions that were answered. For instance, that cute little switch knife that your fine, upright boy admitted to buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
He went over and over in court. I don't know why we have to see it again.
The man has a right to see innocent evidence.
My man.
You know, this knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
All right, then let's get the sequence of events right down as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits leaving the house around 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. The boy went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
It's a pretty interesting knife. I've never seen anything like it before. I think we can all agree on that.
Right. The storekeeper identified this switch knife and said that it was the only one of its kind that he had left in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet he's right.
Next, the boy claims that on his way home, the knife must have fallen through a coat pocket of his, that he never saw it again. Now, there's a story, jurors. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later, stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Thank you. Everyone connected to the case identified this switch knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked this knife up off the street, went up to the boy's house, and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I am saying that it's possible that the boy did lose the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
I don't think so. Watch. Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my entire life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Now, aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence here?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying that it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
What?
What are you trying to do? Who do you think you are?
Look at it! It's the same knife!
Quiet!
Really?
Let's be quiet!
Where did you get that from?
I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. What if there are 10 knives like that? So what?
What if there are?
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't recognize him was because he sneaked into the movies, and maybe he was ashamed to say so. Is there anybody here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Oh.
Maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Hey, do you think he lied?
It's a stupid question. Of course he lied.
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Hey, what are you, the kid's lawyer? Look, there's still 11 of us who thinks he's guilty. You're alone. What are you trying to accomplish here? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, fine. But the kid will be tried again and found guilty, sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what are you gonna do about it? We can be here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Oh, now, come on.
Well, yes, that's true.
Can we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's.
How do you like this guy?
Well, what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
You obviously don't think that the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented any evidence that helps us understand your doubt. There's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kid shriek it out.
There's the woman across the street. She saw it. And we know he bought a switch knife that night, but we don't know where he really was. The movies?
Earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way, and while that doesn't prove anything,
Well, still,
you know.
I've got a proposition to make.
What if?
I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 jurors to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, then I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it.
That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed?
I certainly am.
Control it.
Perhaps it is best.
Can I get the pencils? So, can we get pencils down the line?
Wait.
Working. Just want to go home.
We all do.
Do you ever wonder how far something can fly?
No throwing pencil.
I didn't say I was going to.
What do you
Let's
think?
do it.
Well, surely we all think guilty, right? Forever.
Don't jinx us.
Can we hurry this up, please?
Yeah.
We all want to go home. There's no things we have to do.
Yeah, you know,
Wait,
I just don't want to lose my
ballots?
job over this, over something so minuscule.
Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. Can we just get going?
Leave her alone.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty.
Jesus Christ.
Guilty.
How do you like that? Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
All right, who did it? What idiot changed their vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know who.
So do I.
Excuse me. This was a secret ballot.
No one looked while we did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on that point, no? If the juror wants it to remain a secret.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who did it. What is the matter with you? You come in here and vote guilty, and then you start listening to this slick preacher and his stories about slum kids that can't help murdering their fathers, and all of a sudden, you vote not guilty. Now that isn't the most sickening.
Now hold it. I agree with you that the kid is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it! Be fair! That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden, we're listening to fairy
Now,
tales.
just a minute.
You listen to me!
Let's keep this organized, jurors.
It isn't organized. Let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a man was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is one of the reasons I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree?
Usually I would. In this one case, I do agree with you, but the point I wish to make is that in my country, I'm ashamed to say.
What now? Do we have to listen to the whole backstory of your country?
It is wise to bear in mind what has happened in other people's countries when others aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject here.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. Now I want to ask you, Five, what made you change your vote?
Yeah, I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
Why do you think I did change my vote?
Because I do know. Get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
Wasn't expecting
I was going to tell you, but you seemed so sure of yourselves.
Sorry. Now, let me tell you, you'd like to know why. Let me tell you where that kid's
The
up.
man wants to talk.
Thank you. This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very greatly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for our support, and I gave it to him. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2.
Well, speech is over. Let's get on with it.
If there weren't anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as they get. That's the kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out. But he'll come around. He's got to. And fundamentally, he is a very reasonable man.
I guess so.
You know, they haven't come up yet with one real fact to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know?
Yes, it is. And what exactly does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a life is at stake, you've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone will start knifing people.
Not much doubt.
Men think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail and sometimes death, and then years later things turn up.
But on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and kill again.
Look, buddy, I know that things got kind of heated back there, got a little excited. I just want to say, I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Okay.
Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I'm aware, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty or not. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I guess, but who else would have had motive?
The kid's father was along in years, maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you tell us what those reasonable doubts are?
This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. Feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
So what are we gonna do? Spend the night talking about our feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the boy scream, "I'm gonna kill you." Then he heard the body fall, and then he saw the boy running down the stairs. They found the father knifed in chest. Now, if that's not enough for you,
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I would like to know.
How do you like him? It's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw the killing through the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Supposing you think about it, let's play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time. Need a pencil? No, I can figure this. No.
Start in the middle. What are you doing?
Try the house.
I'm gonna win.
You're gonna.
It isn't a game.
Who do you think you are?
This is a man's life.
All right, let's take it easy.
I've been in a good mind to walk around this table and belt him one.
Now, please, I don't want any fights in here.
All right. Don't mean nothing.
How about sitting down?
Did you see him? The nerve, the absolute nerve. This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
All right. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What does that have to do with anything?
How long would it take? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
Juror 5, what do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 to 12 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you getting at here?
This. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the murder took place. You can almost reach out of the window of that room and touch the L, right?
That's right, I tried it.
So?
All right. Now let me ask you this. Did anyone here ever live right next to the L tracks?
I've lived near them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right next to the L tracks. When your window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get on with it.
The old man who lived downstairs heard the boy say,
He didn't say it, he screamed it.
the old man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And then 1 second later, he heard a body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman looked across the street through the last 2 cars of the L and saw the body fall. Correct?
That's the story.
So,
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
What are you getting at here?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more, before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure, it's possible.
With an L train going by,
He said the boy screamed it.
an L train makes a lot of noise.
Enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise?
You guys are insane. Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, it stands to reason.
Why would he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention. Maybe.
You know, you keep coming up with all these bright sayings. You should submit one to the newspaper. They pay $2.
What has that got to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know this man better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all of his life. He's never had any recognition. His name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned, and listened to, and quoted just once. This is very important.
So, are you telling us that the old man lied to make you feel important?
No, he wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he made himself believe he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Wow. If that's not the most fantastic story I've ever heard, how'd you make a thing up like that?
I'm not making it up.
You've got to be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
Yeah, what do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
I am the same man.
He's a liar.
I think we understand now. Thank you.
you want to admit you're a liar, that's fine by me.
Now that is too much.
He just said he's a liar.
He did not say he was a liar, he was explaining.
Did you not just admit you're a liar?
Please, he was explaining to us the circumstances that we might understand why the old man would have lied. There is a difference.
A liar is a liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Gentlemen, please. We have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
All right. Anything else?
Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Anybody want a cough drop?
Can we get back to the point?
I'll take one. Thank you. No. There's something
else.
No, we cannot hear you.
Trash.
Yeah.
Now, there's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
I disagree.
Let's hear him through. Anyway.
But supposing the old man did hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." This phrase, how many times has each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him! We say it every day. This does not mean that we're really going to kill someone.
Don't the circumstances of this case alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
Right, and the exact phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." Anybody says a thing like that, the way he said it, he means it.
And how they mean it.
Well, then let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood would hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's a doubt.
Where is the doubt?
There's the knife.
So you're letting this guy make you believe in some fairy tale.
Go on, give us the reasons.
Well, there's the old man too. Maybe he did lie, but then just maybe he didn't. I mean, come on, maybe the old man just didn't like the kid.
Well, that isn't the end.
I think there's a reasonable doubt.
What are you basing it on? Stories that this guy made up? He ought to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. He'd make a fortune. Look, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points in court?
Lawyers can't think of everything. You should know that.
Oh, brother, you sit in here and pull stories out of thin air, and now we're supposed to believe the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing.
That is the testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore to this. Yes, he swore to this. Also, he can be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got there.
I can't recall exactly what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went. I remember it now. He went from his bedroom door to his front door. Isn't that enough?
Enough.
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere? Are we to send a man off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
I thought you said you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
Of course you don't.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
Why don't we just have them run the trial over just so you can get everything straight?
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know exactly where it is? Please, a man's life is at stake. Do you know?
Oh,
Mr. Foreman.
I heard you.
Come on, what's this one for? How come You're the only one that wants to see exhibits all the time.
Hey now, I want to see this one too.
So do I.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we gonna start waiting for all that nonsense about where the body was found again?
We're not. We're going to find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes could make it to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20.
He said 15.
He was an old man. I mean, how can he be sure about anything?
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
Oh, I mean, you know, old man, you know what I mean.
No, I don't know. Maybe you do know.
Is this what you wanted?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, that's my job.
You want this?
Yes, please.
Some help. Hey, do me a favor. Wake me up when this is all over.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours already. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. Here is the diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Here are the L tracks. The bedroom, another bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen, and here is the hall. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went to his bedroom door and into the hall, down the hall to his front door, and opened it and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's right.
Oh, that's what happened.
15 seconds after he heard the body falls.
Correct.
His bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. He had to get up, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and then open the front door all in 15 seconds. Do you think this possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
He would have been in a hurry. He said the boy screamed it.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk.
You would know.
What are you doing?
I want to try this thing. Let's see how long it really took him. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're insane. You can't recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps if we could see it, this is an important point.
And I think it's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let him do it.
I can't see any harm in it. As foolish as it is, go ahead.
Hand me a chair, please.
I've got
What about this is funny to you?
Frankly, all of it.
Why don't we just have the actual old man do this?
All right, this is the door to the bedroom. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
About 20 feet.
Just about.
20 feet is close enough. All right, from here to the door of this room and back is about 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall that the old man had to travel through, wouldn't you say that?
A few feet, maybe.
Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop him.
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Who's got a watch with a second hand?
I have.
When you want me to start, stamp your foot. That will be the body follower.
We'll time it from there.
Let's say he keeps his canes right at his bedside, right?
Right.
Okay? I'm ready.
Waiting for the hand to be at 60.
He's actually doing it. Okay, speed it up. He walked faster than that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the court.
No, it's not.
If you think I should go faster, then I will. And speed it up a little.
Now let's see.
Pretty sure inches are off.
Yeah, don't break a hip now.
Just under it.
Stop!
Right.
What's the time?
15, 20, 25. 39 seconds exactly.
Come on.
39 seconds.
Now that's interesting.
Hey, now you know. What do you think of that?
39 seconds. 39.
And the old cripple swore on his oath that it was 15.
He may have been a little off on the speed that the old cripple moved at, but 24 seconds off. Well, now, you know.
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for quite the difference in speed between you and the old man, why, there's still quite a
discrepancy.
Thank you.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to his front door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed? I have seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but you people, this takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell him, you come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustices, and you've got these soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I am getting real sick of you. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to be letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up!
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You are a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up! Let me go. I'll kill him. I'll kill you!
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Is everything all right, jurors? I heard some noise.
Yes, everything's all right. You can take that now. We're done with this.
All right.
Take your time, please.
All right.
Well, what are you all looking at?
I don't see any need for us to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. this is a remarkable thing about democracy, that we are, what is the word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place, to decide on the guilt or innocence of a man we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
You forget. It's good to be reminded.
I'm glad we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we'll still know where.
No, we're somewhere. Or getting there, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, anyone got an idea?
I think maybe we should try another vote. Mr. Foreman?
All right. Anybody who doesn't want to vote?
Let's call out our votes. I want an open ballot. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair. Anybody object? I'll go off by your jury numbers. I vote yes, he's guilty. Juror 2.
Not guilty.
Juror 3.
Guilty.
Juror 4.
Guilty.
Juror 5.
Not guilty.
Juror 6.
Not guilty.
Juror 7.
Guilty.
Juror 8.
Not guilty.
Juror 9.
Not guilty.
Juror 10.
Guilty.
Juror 11.
Not guilty.
Juror 12.
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed in this room right now.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I am about to walk in there and declare a hung jury. There is no point in this going on.
I'd like to know why you changed your mind. And why you changed your mind. And why you did. There are 6 men here who think that we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotion won't do. Why?
I don't think the old man saw the boy running down the stairs. I don't think it's likely the old man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream. If the old man did hear the boy scream that he was going to kill, then we have the authority of this man to prove that might not really be true.
Why don't we just take it into the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other men? 6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything.
Well, it's got to be unanimous, and we're never going to convince him.
At first, I was alone. Now, 5 others agree there is a doubt.
You can't ever convince me there's a doubt, because I know there isn't no doubt.
Hey! Calm down. Now, I have a proposition here. What if we just declare we're a hung jury?
We are not going to be a hung jury.
But we are. Right now, a perfect balance. Let's just take it into the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
The doubt is there, in my mind.
Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean?
Not
Vote.
again.
Still want to know. Vote on what?
Are we, or aren't we, a hung jury?
You mean that we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we are not a hung jury?
That's just what I was thinking.
We can't even agree between whether or not the window should be open.
We'll make a majority vote. Majority wins.
So if 7 or more of us vote yes, that we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and say that we are a hung jury.
Right. If 7 or more of us vote no, then we aren't a hung jury, and we go on discussing it.
It just doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution.
I agree. It's the only way.
Anything to end this?
I think yes, we are a hung jury. 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No.
7, yes, 8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11,
No.
12,
Oh, yes.
6 to 6.
And we get a majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
I would along with the majority vote on this question. I didn't agree with voting this way. and I still don't. So I'm changing my vote.
Oh,
I say no, we are not a hung jury. There are still some things I want to know from those of you who changed your minds.
then we aren't a hung jury, so we go on.
Good, we go on. Juror 2, why did you change your vote?
He seems so sure, and he's made a number of good points. While he only gets mad and insults everybody.
Does the anger and the insults change the guilt of the boy? He did do it, did he not? Are you going to turn a murderer loose in the streets because this juror gets angry when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
There is a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the apartment. Let's take that point. So the train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves. So the old man could have heard the boy scream, which is high-pitched. And, keep in mind, it is a tenement and they have very thin walls.
Yeah, that's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about how long it took for him to get to the door, but was right about still seeing the kid run down the stairs? Keep in mind that there were no fingerprints on the knife, and it is summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
I want you to listen to that man. He's got the goods.
And it might have taken a few moments to get out a handkerchief and wipe away those fingerprints.
This is a point.
Yeah, why don't we just time this one to see it?
Just what exactly are we timing?
Yes, let's be exact, please.
I am saying that the old man downstairs might have been wrong about how long it took for him to get down the stairs, but that he still saw the kid running down the stairs. Now, it might have taken the murderer about 39 seconds to get down to wipe away the fingerprints before running down the hall and running down the stairs.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Well, now let's reconstruct the actual killing.
As well as we can reconstruct it.
I think a murderer could use up 30 to 40 seconds pretty easily at that point.
Yes, let's reconstruct the killing, shall we?
Yes, let's.
How about you do the killing?
No, I'll do it.
How about you be the one to get stabbed? You take the 1 second to fall, and you're younger than I am.
And don't forget to fall on your right side. After all, that was where the body was found, on its right side. If someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think it's reasonable to suppose that the murderer would look at their victim for a moment or two?
Divorce yourself from this particular case. It's just human nature.
Yes, it seems reasonable.
Hey, wait a minute. He said that the father falls and ends up on his right side. But stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even if it's directly into the heart. The father would have lied there, writhing for a second.
That's quite possible. There would have been enough oxygen in his system to carry him for about 2 to 3 seconds, I should think.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
What if the boy held his mouth?
That also seems possible.
Also, there's another thing we might bring out here. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe away the fingerprints, well, that person is also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, to see if there were any other clues. It would just be for a moment or two, I should think, but he still would look.
This gets better and better.
We're trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk about quality when murder is involved. Well, let's do it.
About this with the fingerprints. The kid wiped the fingerprints off the knife. What about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and he started wiping the doorknobs with a handkerchief, well, it would give me an uneasy feeling. This means the doorknobs had to have been wiped after the killing, and this too would take some time.
That's true. You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one too?
Alright.
Stamp your foot when you want me to start.
I want to be at 60.
I'm gonna kill you! He would have liked both doorknobs.
Stop! 20, about 29 and a half seconds, I'd say.
And whoever did murder the old man, and I think it was the boy, he still would have had to run down the hall and down the stairs. At least, one flight of stairs.
You see? You see?
What do you think, 12?
Well, I think is that you're right. The times do check. And now, whatever you mentioned earlier, with the stairs and everything, both time sequences do check out.
Sure, he's an old man who wants attention. But the old man feels the same way everyone else does. A life is at stake here.
So the story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
We all seem to agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit that this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but in part he is now a proven liar. And this is by your own admission.
It may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think this will change my vote once more. Guilty.
What do you think?
I don't know what I think. I think I would like to talk some more. At first, I thought guilty, then I changed. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
How about you?
No, I am now in real doubt. Real doubt.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're beginning to make sense in here.
The vote seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings?
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close, and there is just enough light in the hall so you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small, and this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs and one even had a flashlight, remember?
An old man misjudged the time by 24 seconds. On this we all agree. This old man looked down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognized the running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
Then could not the old man be 100% wrong about who he saw?
That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. You are making that up out of thin air.
We're a hung jury. Let's be honest about it.
7. Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean? I don't understand it. Who are you to talk to me like that? How do you all like this woman? She comes over here, running for her life, and before she can even take a big breath, she's telling us all how to run the show. The arrogance of her!
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here, pal.
Or where anyone's father came from.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learn something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, I am used to this. It's alright, thank you.
It's not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
We stop the arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little. This whole business about the stab wound and how it was made, the downward angle of it, you know?
God, we went over and over in court. Don't get me started on that again.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father was 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of somebody who's half a foot taller than you are.
You're not gonna believe it until you see it, so I'm gonna give you a demonstration. Somebody get up. Is that 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Okay, let it be more.
Look out!
That's not funny!
What?
What's the matter with you?
Oh, calm down. No one got hurt, did they?
No, nobody's hurt.
Here you go. Down and in. That's how it would stab into a taller man. That's how it was done.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Now you got him playing with the knife.
Don't cut yourself.
Did you ever stab a man?
Of course not.
Did you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Did you?
No!
Where do you get all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No?
All right, I'd like to ask you something. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knife fighting. Isn't that so?
What do you keep asking me for?
Look at this. Doesn't that seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
I don't think so. What do you keep asking me for? Come on.
Wait a minute, what's the matter with me? Give me that knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in a vacant lot across the street. Almost too many of them, really. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny I didn't think of it before, but I mean, come on, I guess you try to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife before would have never stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhanded.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I mean, I suppose it's conceivable that the boy did make the wound, but it's not likely not if the boy had any experience with switch knives. And I mean, come on, we know that the kid had a lot of experience with these things.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're just giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
Oh. I don't know.
How about you?
Look, pal, I'll tell you something. I'm a little sick of all this already. Let's just break it up and go home.
Before we decide anything more, I would like to try to pull this together.
This should be good. Let's let him talk.
You want me to time this too?
Let's hear it.
Well, I'm in advertising. I'm used to trying to pull these things together. So let's chip up a few shots and see if any of them land on the green.
I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
I want to know, is the kid smart or is the kid dumb?
What do you mean by that?
This is a kid who has gone to the reform school for knife fighting. On the night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid kid to go and murder a man, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I agree, he's quite dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make with that knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred, and in that moment he would handle the knife as best as he could. And a trained man would handle the knife as he had been trained, underhand. A man who had not been trained would go overhand. But the kid is being very smart. Everyone knows that the kid is an experienced knife fighter. So at that moment, he is smart enough to make the kind of wound that an amateur would make. That man is a smart man. Smart enough to wipe fingerprints away, perhaps even smart enough to wait until an L train was going by in order to cover the noise. Now, is this kid smart or is he dumb?
Hey, no, wait a minute. Well, the woman across the L track saw the murder through the L train, so someone in that L train could have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
It'd take an awfully dumb man to take that chance, doing the murder as the train went by.
Exactly. A dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train as it was coming. And whoever did murder the father did it as well as he could.
So?
The kid is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with the switch knife. A switch knife murder. And then a moment after the murder, he becomes smart. The kid is smart enough to make a kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else. And yet, at the same instant, he is dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by, and then a moment later, he becomes smart enough to wipe fingerprints away. For this kid to be guilty, he must be stupid from 8 o'clock until about midnight. And then about midnight, he becomes smart 1 second, then dumb for a few seconds, and then smart again, and then once again he becomes stupid. So stupid that he does not think of a good alibi. Now, is this kid smart or is he dumb? To say that he is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt.
I hadn't thought of that before.
And the old man downstairs, on the stand, he swore it was 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds. But we all seem to agree that it must have been almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time, and does he tell the truth the other half of the time?
For this kid to be guilty, he must be stupid, and then smart, and then stupid, and then smart, and so on. And also, for this kid to be guilty, the old man downstairs must be a liar half the time, and the other half the time he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt.
I think I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I wanted to talk, and I've had it.
I want another vote.
Another vote has been called. The quickest way is for a show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. Nine. Not guilty? The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? You know how they lie? I don't have to tell you that. They don't even know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't need any big reason to kill somebody either. They get drunk and BAM! Someone's lying in the gutter and no one's blaming them. That's how they are. You know what I mean. Finally, human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Where are you going? Oh, these people. They're drinking and fighting all the time, and if someone gets killed, so someone gets killed. It doesn't mean nothing to them. Oh, sure, there are some of them who are pretty decent. I'm the first to say that. There are a few who are decent, but that's the exception. For most of them, it's like they could just do anything. Where are you going? I'm speaking my piece, and you listen to me. They're no good. We better watch out. You better take it from me. These kids on trial, well, don't you know about them? They're no good. There's not any one of them who is any good. What are you doing? I'm saying something to you. I'm trying to tell you something.
I've had enough. If you open your mouth again, I'm going to split your skull.
I was only trying to tell you.
All right, everyone, sit down. I still believe that the kid is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who claimed she actually saw the murder committed.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole case.
All right, let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. The woman said that she went to bed at about 8 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the open window, and she could see directly through that window into the window across the street while lying down. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep, until she looked out the window, and at about 10 o'clock, she saw the boy stab his father. To me, this is unshakable testimony.
That's the only testimony.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal.
Well, maybe, but I don't know. There's just too much evidence to consider.
What do you mean, maybe? You can throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling too. I don't deny the points that he has made. They are valid. Shall we say that on one side of the tracks there is doubt? But what can you say about the story of the old woman? She saw it?
What time is it?
10 minutes to 6.
You suppose you let us finish this early and go home and come back in the morning? I've got a kid home with mumps.
Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Oh,
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
well. What do you all do when you wake up at night and want to know what time it is?
I put my glasses on and look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for my clock to chime. It was a gift from my father when we first married, my wife and I. It was 10 years before we had a place to put it, though.
Do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
The woman who testified that she saw the killing wears glasses. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course, the woman wore bifocals. I remember this very clearly. They looked quite strong.
That's right, bifocals. She never took them off.
Now, that's funny. I never considered that.
I think it's logical to say that the woman wasn't wearing her glasses in bed, and I don't think she put them on to glance casually out the window. She testified that the murder took place the instant she looked out, and that the lights went out a split second later. She couldn't have had time to put on her glasses then. Now, perhaps this woman honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
Well, I mean, how do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anyone think there still is not a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder, but there is a doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced there is a reasonable doubt.
Or alone?
The vote is 11 not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care if I'm alone. I have rights.
Yes, you have rights.
What do you want from me?
Your argument.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
You, come on. You're the one. You're the guy. You made all the arguments. This kid is guilty. He's gonna die. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. I'm convinced. I don't think I'm wrong often, but I guess I was this once. There There is a reasonable doubt in my mind. We're waiting.
You are not going to intimidate me. It'll be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about that, except hope that some night, maybe in a few months, why, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
You know, if it is a hung jury, there will be another trial, and we will point these things out to the various lawyers.
All right.
We'll be a few minutes. They're waiting. Not guilty.
Not